Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Trail Mix, where the nuts might be a little stale, but the company is always fresh.
Good morning. It's the 2-minute Trail Mix, and it's January the 7th. I believe that's a Wednesday. We're going to spin through what's in Trail Mix this morning. I'm at trailmix.cc. That is trailmix.cc. Couldn'tafford.com. And there's a bar up there in the corner, top left. You can do whatever you do with your phone camera and it'll take you to Trail Mix. Apparently, I've tried it. It works. Trailmix.cc. Join us for commenting anytime. Let's get on to today's news. Our morning host, Pat D, usually kicks us off with a cartoon. Missing, have you seen these overseers of the executive branch? That's Mike Johnson and John Thune. They're last seen swearing support and defend the Constitution. Yeah, right. We're waiting to see that. Yesterday we had a swap meet. Her cartoon was Trump trading Ukraine for Venezuela. I'm afraid that's what happened. The only thing that cartoonist might have left out, maybe, is China trading for Taiwan. Because both China and Russia have been pretty quiet. Moving on down today's Trail Mix, we see the story about Schumer says they're going to vote on Venezuela authorization. Well, that seems a bit late. And we move on down. Well, we've got some video. Pat always in the mornings puts the monologues from the late night hosts, and starts with Kimmel, who delivered one heck of a monologue about January 6th. At the top, he got kind of serious about yesterday's anniversary, January 6th, and we did that too here on Trail Mix yesterday. Lawrence O'Donnell got a clip from that, talking about impeaching Trump. Why not? What the heck? 3 times a charm. I've got something here on war powers. And moving on down, I know we've got Jamie. Jamie filed on the Corporation for Public Broadcasting demise. But then I point out here, and we have a few clips of some of our favorite public TV shows there. You recognize those fellas. And then we've got on this PBS thing, let's not get too, well, we need to get upset, but not too upset. Because sad as that is, it is true. We need to understand the local public stations are independent of the PBS, which just shut down, or the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. They're locally funded, community funded. They get some money from the Fed, so they do need some help. Put the link right in here in this piece this morning where you can do that. There's a link right here, find and fund a public media station that's at risk. Because again, your local stations have not gone away, neither your PBS station or your radio station, your NPR radio station, but they are going to need some help. And that's the link for how to do that. I'll put that on the screen. That's morning, all.
Hey,
stir. And there I see Jamie's there. I put up something to yours. Here's stir that now where did that go? I put something up here. Oh, it's up here. Here it is. There. This is classic stir. You're fast. This you're responding here to the what we're learning about CBS being propaganda for the state-run TV for the Trump administration. I like that. Jamie, you there? Oh, I've got Jamie. Jamie's sound is off for some reason. What's going on? You there now, Jamie?
Yeah, I've got mine on.
Oh, okay. It said unmute on here. I don't know why.
Yeah, I still send money to Cascade for my local TV and NPR. But I wanted to alert people that they had to do it individually.
Yeah, it's very sad what's going on in media. I mean, right here, this thing here is just incredible. Where the CBS, is that it? Yeah. This is the new anchor at CBS. He ended last night.
Whoops, be back in a bit.
All right. Marco Rubio stirs got some work to do. He's coming back in a bit.
Yeah,
the new CBS anchor, which is now apparently run by the Trump administration. I swear I can't believe it. But he signed off the evening newscast. Marco Rubio, we salute you. And this is after his inaugural broadcast, the CBS News anchor here, his inaugural broadcast. They did a lengthy interview with Pete Hegseth, which was not exactly hard hitting.
Yes, I do not watch CBS News.
Yeah, not much.
Basic ignorance offends me.
Well, and I mean, the way I say it is, if I'm at Fox, if I'm running Fox, those Murdochs, I'd be a little worried about this because with CBS getting captured now by the Trump forces, they might not need Fox.
Every once in a while, Fox shows signs of waking up. And the next thing you know, CBS will be calling them woke.
Yep. And that is what led to a classic stir, originally sturgeon, now a different form of stir every day. And that's what led him to put this up this morning. I like that. It doesn't take you too long to figure that one out. CBS. Now you can. But I don't know about you. I kind of grew up. Every family kind of divvied up. I mean, some families were Huntley Brinkley. Some families were Walter Cronkite. I'm truly dating myself now, but I don't care. That's why I've got here, I don't know if you notice, I keep behind me on my little set here in my office. There it is.
Well, subtract 12 years from that, and you've got me.
Is that right? 8 and 19. So all y'all, yelling at us for being old, for whatever reason that matters. Here we are. We're not hiding it.
Yeah, I was born during the Battle of the Bulge, and I've been fighting it ever since.
Only big lie I've got on here is all original parts. I've got two fake hips now, so I can't say it's all original parts anymore.
Well, the parts that I have left are original.
Well, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, I like that.
I've shed a few along the way.
It's like my doctor, when he put the last fake hip in there, he says, "Well, I made all the money I can make on you now. You run out of hips." I'm kind of sorry. I liked him. Kind of wished I had a third hip to replace.
Yeah, and of course, they're sort of managing finally to drown out Epstein, but we'll have to do.
No, they're not. We ain't gonna let them
it up again.
I'm not gonna let them. I know they're trying, but they're not fooling me. I'm gonna put it.
Did you see the Danish ambassador?
Yeah, said that's the end of NATO.
Yeah.
Is that the part?
Well, the part about Greenland, that,
Yeah.
Hey guys, you've got bases all over the place. You could have just asked.
Yeah. I think Stir's back. Did Stir come back? Oh, there he is. Hey, Stir.
Hey,
I was just putting your CBS back up there. Jamie was just saying they're trying to drown out Epstein. I ain't letting that happen. We're not drowning it out in these parts. I got it right here. I'm working on it. I mean, the latest is that this cracks me up is, they're now saying admitting. Trouble is they're in a court now. There's a judge overseeing this release. So they're having to go to court and admit stuff under oath that they don't say in press releases or in press conferences. So they've admitted they've only released 1% of the files that were due 3 weeks ago, for starters. And here, this business, and this is funny too. I just noticed this morning. They're saying they have over 2 million documents. That's how come it's delayed. Well, there's a little bit of an issue about that. I also came across, and it's how they get to that 2 million documents. I think I put it down here somewhere. Anyway, they're counting duplicates. Here it is. Right here, 2 million more Epstein documents. Not really. Trump's DOJ prevaricators want us to think there are so many documents they had to miss the deadline that passed 3 weeks ago. Well, they got there by counting duplicates. And we only know that because the judge is up in New York who's badgering them about what's going on. They finally acknowledged that a meaningful portion of the remaining 2 million documents are just copies. So the 2 million thing is
how they went from 1 million to 2 million in just a few days.
Well, that's how they did it. So it's not over. Epstein ain't going away, no matter how many wars we start or countries we buy or whatever to distract our attention. And you were the first to catch that, Jamie. On the minute the Venezuela story started, you put something up about, the Epstein files must be really bad.
Yeah, I put it up that tail was wagging the dog awfully hard.
Oh, we got I believe this is a newbie, Notch ad. Some of y'all screen names, I struggle with them. I want to understand your screen names. Notch ad. So the Trump administration is still breaking the law.
404.
What's that?
I said not Chad 404.
Not Chad 404. Okay.
In other words,
I don't know why I get dragged into the weeds on these screen names, but I can't help it. So the Trump administration is still breaking the law. Yep.
I don't think it's ever stopped.
Yeah. Sure enough. Speaking of which, let's get back to one more trip to January 6th.
So did you develop evidence that President Trump was responsible for the violence at the Capitol on January 6th?
So our view of the evidence was that he caused it and that he exploited it and that it was foreseeable to him and was aware in the days leading up to January 6th that his supporters were angry when he invited them. And then he directed them to the Capitol. These crimes were committed for his benefit. The attack that happened at the Capitol does not happen without him.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on.
Let's have trial by combat.
Does not happen without him.
So there you go, Notch. Yep. They're still breaking the law, and That one goes back 5 years as of yesterday.
Good morning, Katie Bear.
Oh, we got somebody new.
Yes.
Jack Smith is a true patriot. You're right about that. That's why I keep paying attention to him, because back on that score. Go ahead.
Did you see the woman who refused a pardon?
I sure did. And as a matter of fact, if you want, we can listen to her. I clipped her from yesterday's hearing. She spoke yesterday at that hearing, and I clipped her somewhere here. Yeah, here she is.
Pam Hemphill. I'm a mother and a grandmother and a cancer survivor and a retired addiction counselor. I am also a convicted criminal for what I did on January the 6th, 2021. Thank you for having me back to the Capitol today. I am deeply grateful for this chance to try to make amends and talk about what happened 5 years ago. Once I got away from the mega cult.
Yeah, I certainly do not blame her, but I think she was attempting a bit of a disguise there, don't you think? Putting that hat all over half her head.
She said she's been threatened, so it makes sense.
Yeah, sure does.
And started educating myself about January the 6th. I knew what I did was wrong. I pleaded guilty to my crimes because I did the crime. I received due process, and the DOJ was not weaponized against me. When Donald Trump pardoned us, I rejected the pardon. Accepting that pardon would be lying about what happened on January the 6th. I am guilty, and I own that guilt. 5 years ago, I traveled from Idaho to DC to see Donald Trump speak. I had fallen for the president's lies, just like many of his supporters. Local people had welcomed me into the circle when I was around them. I heard them saying things like, the Democrats are trying to turn this into a communist country, or the radical left wants to do away with our Constitution. The gaslighting caused a lot of fear, and I was scared. With that fear in my heart, I came here on January the 6th. I went from Trump's speech to the Capitol because I thought Mr. Trump would go to the Capitol with us. I heard people saying that Trump was.
To me, that was one of the most amazing things about that is I was watching it live, and he said that. He said it twice in the speech that I'll go down there with you. I've got it on tape. And I thought, that's not possible. I really don't know if he thought he was actually going to do that. I mean, later testimony we learned he really did want to, and Secret Service basically overruled it somehow. But he said he was going to go down there with them.
The gym. You stay behind.
Who's that in the background? You there, Jamie?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I was saying goodbye to son who was heading for the gym.
Oh, going to the gym. Did you ever make it to the swimming pool?
No, it's closed for the rest of January. It's closed for the rest of the month at least.
Wow, so it's really shut down.
Yeah, they found other problems when they got into digging into there, and I don't want to drive across town to their other pools, so
Right.
I'm reduced to swimming in our big tub.
Kay is saying fear mongering is the MAGA way of, unfortunately. Yep.
Yeah.
This woman was powerful, wasn't she? I mean, I thought she was believable. I've seen all kinds of, trashing of her, naturally, that she's an FBI stooge or I don't know. The things these people say is unbelievable.
No, I think that's a woman who came to the realization that what she believed was not true.
And it happens. It's kind of like, I know families that like stage interventions and try to get their family members straightened out. On that score here, I had a couple of comments from yesterday's our chats yesterday that I was going to pull up. Let's see. This is one. It's like where do these people get these ideas? I mean, it's like anyone who watched Insurrection unfold. Oh, this is actually, never mind. This is the one this is Dog Dad. Dog Dad's a good commenter on my videos, but I haven't seen him over here. But I put up the video of a lot of the violence on January 6th, and a lot of people were talking about it, being fake and FBI plants and all this crazy stuff. But this guy's pointing out what it was.
Fugelsang was on Morning Joe this morning, and he was being pertinent on the whole idea of militant Christianity.
Yeah, Fugelsang's pretty good.
Yeah, well, his Separation of Church and Hate book is worth a good read.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. This is kind of thing I was getting a lot yesterday. January 6th was a Fedsurrection. Ozzy Crosby. Democrats' job is to destroy America. Republican job is to pretend that they are going to stop them. Oh well. This Fedsurrection thing was a common theme I got yesterday in response to my coverage of the January 6th anniversary.
What's that supposed to be?
I'll tell you what it is they got this, and I've sourced it. I found out where it comes from. Right here, this guy. Seems like there were about 250 FBI agents in the crowd. Okay, I assume that's what our buddy here earlier, Ozzy Crosby, what you're referring to, Ozzy, and so I drilled down for the receipts on that. You know what that's all about? And Kash Patel is one that fueled it. There's a video of an interview he did where he claims that January 6th was spurred by FBI informants and undercover FBI were actually what they're doing, and they got video of bands of FBI showing up. What they're referring to, it turns out, were first responders who arrived after the riot. And that is what they're calling the FBI informants. And yeah, I know what the definition of a riot is. $2.9 million worth of damage to the Capitol building and 140 cops injured. That's what I call a riot. Ozzy Crosby, what do you call a riot?
Not to mention pooping on the marble floors.
Stir's coming back and forth. He must have Wi-Fi issues. Anyway, so that's what that FBI thing was all about. Get back to Venezuela. Here's some comment yesterday to the Venezuela commenters. We should run Venezuela until it becomes a force for good in the region. you know, that noblesse oblige, that goes back to the British and, Rudyard Kipling. I mean, that's how that's always what they pretended colonialism to be. We're going to make it a better country because we're there. That's a noble idea, but I don't think it works. And the UN is our organization. Without U.S. funding, it dies. It should be relocated to another country, kicked out of the U.S. Who cares what the United Nations says? That comes from, I was following the United Nations Security Council yesterday on their everybody condemning the Venezuelan action. That's what that responds to. And going back to Jack Smith, Lionel Aubrey is saying Jack Smith is a patriot. Ozzy's answering Kay is answering my question to Ozzy. So Kay is saying a violent riot is a violent disturbance of the peace and then insurrection, a violent uprising against an authority. Well, you know, there's a court of law that in Colorado that there was one case where they actually took the evidence of January 6th for a week, and the judge ruled that Trump led an insurrection, and the Colorado State Supreme Court and the United States Supreme Court upheld that finding of fact that it was insurrection. Now the Supreme Court overruled the throwing him off the ballot, which is what the case was about, but it did not disturb the finding of fact from the trial court judge after a week of evidence that Trump led an insurrection on January 6th. So that's the only court case we've got on it.
Well, I don't think we should let the UN leave town until they pay their traffic tickets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, my problem with that idea of getting rid of of kicking out the United Nations is where do we want it to go? What country do we want it to host other than us? Would we really want that? Want China? I'm sure China would be glad to host the United Nations. I kind of like keeping them right here.
It'd probably be Germany. They're the only ones truly standing up to Russia at the moment.
Yeah, they have up their military spending. And January 20th, 2017 was the very definition of a riot. Now you're saying the inauguration of what is it? What? January 20th, 2007 was the very definition of a riot. Explain yourself, Ozzy. I'm a little dense. I don't get that. But going back to before we finish out our hour, I want to get back to Jack Smith because I put 2 minutes, although I shouldn't say I did. I recorded MS Now's clipping of 2.5 minutes here of the highlights of what Jack Smith said in his testimony the other day that was released the other day. His testimony was a couple of weeks ago, where he talks about his prosecution. He had 2 indictments. He had 2 grand juries approve indictments of Donald Trump. Everybody always says, he indicted Trump. No, 2 different grand juries indicted him. And here he is answering questions about it.
The decision to bring charges against President Trump was mine. But the basis for those charges rests entirely with President Trump and his actions, as alleged in the indictments returned by grand juries in 2 different districts. Our investigation developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in a criminal scheme to overturn the results of the 2020 election and to prevent the lawful transfer of power. Our investigation also developed powerful evidence that showed that President Trump willfully retained highly classified documents after he left office in January of 2021, storing them at his social club including in a ballroom and a bathroom. He then repeatedly tried to obstruct justice to conceal his continued retention of those documents. The evidence here made clear that President Trump was, by a large measure, the most culpable and most responsible person in this conspiracy. These crimes were committed for his benefit. The attack that happened at the Capitol as part of this case does not happen without him. The other co-conspirators were doing this for his benefit. So in terms of why we would pursue a case against him, I entirely disagree with any characterization that our work was in any way meant to hamper him in the presidential election. The timing and speed of our work reflects the strength of the evidence and our confidence that we would have secured convictions at trial. If asked whether to prosecute a former president based on the same facts today, I would do so regardless of whether that president was a Republican or a Democrat. One of the strengths of our case and why we felt we had such strong proof is our witnesses were not going to be political enemies of the president. They were going to be political allies. We had numerous witnesses who would say, I voted for President Trump. I campaigned for President Trump. I wanted him to win. Our case was a case in which the president was preying on the party allegiance of people who supported him.
You know, I missed my chance. I could have been on that jury. I had been summoned to that jury. And that's one reason I've been so into this Jack Smith testimony, because had I gotten on the jury, I would have been hearing his case, you know, and he's sort of making his case right there. He's sort of doing his opening and closing arguments all together.
What Ozzy Crosby is going on about is the inauguration of Trump and his America First speech. Remember the one where we all sat back after that speech? And that was some weird shit.
Yeah, that was George W. Bush who said that to Hillary after that speech, where he talked about evil and the nation under sea. I don't know what anyway. George W. Bush said to Hillary after that Trump inaugural speech in 2017, that was some weird shit. Yeah.
And that whole America First, I mean, we might as well go back to the 1930s and, you know.
Well, Kay's got a message here for Ozzy. You need to stop drinking the Kool-Aid and really do your research, not just down the MAGA rabbit hole. What do you say, Ozzy?
He just keeps repeating himself.
Well, yeah, I got a summons for that jury. Here we go. I always like to bring this up at this cartoon up at this point. I just love how I get this. I got it 4 or 5 times yesterday, getting accused of Trump derangement syndrome. My response is, you are correct. I agree with you. Trump is deranged. Oh, well. We had some other comments yesterday. Now here I got into this argument with some people yesterday as I put up a video about when they wanted to hang Mike Pence, and people just don't want to acknowledge that, you know, that.
Well, admittedly, the gallows that they put up wasn't good enough to do the job, but in order to keep them away from Pence, the Capitol Police had to direct the mob down another stairwell.
Well, and the Secret Service had to whisk him away to the basement, and they literally, I mean, they showed the January 6th committee did the diagram of the rooms in the hallway. They literally got within 40 feet of Mike Pence, and they have recordings of Secret Service agents calling their loved ones and saying goodbye because they thought the crowd was going to kill them, and that's a fact.
Katie Bear. That's what John Fugelsang was going on about this morning, was the whole Christian nationalist movement.
Oh, my mother-in-law is a Christian nationalist, so we get
from Jesus all the way up to the present time. They are not a new phenomenon.
I think Kay said earlier she's in Minnesota. I'd like to know what you think about walls dropping out. And of course, that's just, one reason is that they've been directing their threats not only to his daughter. I saw his daughter, Walt's daughter, interviewed saying she's gotten threats and her brother's gotten threats. And he, for one factor was he just decided he wasn't putting his family through this anymore. But now Jamie Kay's a candidate for getting on Trail Mix, don't you think?
Yeah, give her the address. She's needed over there.
Come on over. Right here. I put the CC in capital letters to remind people it's not .com, which everyone's used to, but I had to do it that way because .com wasn't available. Somebody actually selling trail mix, real trail mix, the food, the snack, owns trailmix.com. So I got this trailmix.cc, which happens to be my initials. So that's somewhat makes some sense. But anyway, it's easy to comment, Kay. All you got to do is give us a fake name. Well, and you have to put 3 numbers on the CAPTCHA. I made the CAPTCHA as easy as it can be. You just type 3 numbers, but you don't need to put an email or a credit card or any of that kind of junk, and get in there and comment. In fact,
got it. Good. Come visit. The natives may be restless, but we don't bite.
And in fact, we'll go ahead and see. I'll put on the we've been getting more traffic, a lot more traffic at Trail Mix, but people are still shy about commenting.
Yeah, the bats in our belfry won't come down and
but this is the comment box. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll log out of this so that people can see what it looks like when they go to it, if they haven't logged in. Now, that's the banner you'll recognize. When you go to trailmix.cc, that's at the very top. And then you come on down here and scroll through to the comment box. And you'll see here at the top, it says name is required, email and website optional. But the name can be any name you want. So some people literally type anonymous, which isn't very creative, but that's okay. You just have to put something in this name field, and that's it. But then the CAPTCHA, that's the only other thing you have to do. And how could I make it? I didn't put any Egyptian hieroglyphics in here or anyway. All you got is just 3 numbers that you put over here in the box. So you give us a fake name. and then you put 3 numbers in a box and then hit post comment and you're in. So I don't think that could be any easier.
And we play music for each other all day long.
Yeah, that's another feature we have that everybody enjoys is I did the code. Oh, well, it looks like Rebellious has got Rebellious is waiting. She usually gets on here in time before we close at noon with some memes. Here's her newest. Bidenomics is destroying the economy. Everything will be better when Trump's in office. All right, let's see. Even though I can't afford to pay my utilities, the economy is way better now. See who else we got coming in. Stir's back again. You've been going back and
Like a
forth.
bad
Stir.
penny.
Yeah, but at least you keep coming back. That's what counts. Oh, I think we got a recruit there, Jamie. Kay says I'm on my phone right now, but I'll get it set in a few. Yeah, do that.
Wonderful. Look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, what we were saying, and Stir's one of the masters of this, is the way we've designed the site, Kay, is you could just put a YouTube URL, raw URL, just put it in there. Nothing fancy, just the actual URL, internet address for the YouTube, and our site automatically puts that in a frame and displays that video right there on the comment page, where people don't have to click and go somewhere else to watch it. And YouTube doesn't mind because YouTube still gets the credit for the traffic. So they're very cooperative about letting us do that. The other sites like X and TikTok is not friendly about doing that. I'm still working on that. You can't. I want to be able to put a raw TikTok link in and have it display
I'm
as
starting
YouTube
to
does.
suspect that X is almost all bots these days.
Could be. Well, let's see. We got about 15 minutes left in our hour. Let me see if I ran through all my little goodies I'd put in for us. I think. Oh no, I got one more goodie. We did the former MAGA grandmother who didn't accept the pardon. But the other testimony that struck me yesterday was a prosecutor of the January 6th defendants. One of the prosecutors testified at the House hearing yesterday on the 5th anniversary of January 6th. And I thought he was really powerful. His name is Brendan Ballou. He quit DOJ after the pardons. And can you imagine? I mean, these people who work so hard to prosecute those people and convict them and sentence them, and then Trump rolls in and literally, I think on the first or maybe the second day in office, he pardoned all these people that they had worked so hard to bring to justice. And so I thought it was good that the committee yesterday, the Democrats in the House committee, Raskin was responsible for getting this hearing together, and they put this prosecutor on.
I was on the team that prosecuted rioters who attacked the Capitol on January 6th. I should make clear that I was a very small part of a very large team, but because I'm in a position to speak publicly, I will. Let me start not with January 6th, but with January 20th, 2025, when President Trump pardoned over 1,500 rioters. Now, here I confess my own ignorance. I believed, if nothing else than out of pure political self-interest, President Trump would not pardon those rioters who attacked and tried to kill police officers. I was wrong. In fact, the president pardoned rioters who attacked officers with pipes, flagpoles, bear spray, and whips, who dragged officers into the crowd, tased them, and tried to gouge out their eyes. He even pardoned rioters who had previously been convicted, as you noted, of manslaughter and charged with production of child pornography. And when his first pardon was insufficient, he re-pardoned one defendant on an unrelated gun charge to set him free. After the pardons, like several of my colleagues, I chose to resign from the Justice Department. But since then, President Trump has continued to try to rewrite the history of January 6th. He's fired or demoted career FBI agents and prosecutors, my former colleagues who investigated and prosecuted rioters. He appointed an election denier, Ed Martin, to be interim U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, and appointed a literal rioter, Jared Weiss, to a senior Department of Justice job. His appointees have tried to erase the public records of the attack on government websites, and to create a false equivalence, have used many of the same charging statutes used against rioters against the president's political opponents, Congresswoman LaMonica McKibber, for instance, and protesters in Los Angeles and D.C. And I'll note that many of those charges have since been reduced or dropped entirely. Why has the president continued to focus on erasing the history of January 6th? I believe it's because he knows that if he can convince Americans to forget the attack on the Capitol, then he can convince us to attack any attack on democracy, no matter how violent. And if that happens, if January 6th is forgotten, or worse yet, excused as legitimate political discourse, then January 6th and attacks like it, more violent, will certainly happen again. So what can be done? To protect the future of our democracy, we have to preserve our past. Memorials like this event matter, and so too do symbols. As some of you have noted, in 2022, Congress passed a law to install a plaque to honor the officers who defended the Capitol that day and required that it be installed within a year. That deadline was nearly 3 years ago, and though the plaque has been made, the Speaker of the House reportedly refuses to install it.
A little extra detail on that point is they discovered they've lost the plaque. It's gone. CNN yesterday, the guy doing a story about this plaque to commemorate the police officers said that they've said they don't know where it is now. So that's the end of that. That's the end of the plaque. This guy ends here with a powerful statement. I'll keep him on.
Two officers, Harry Dunn and Daniel Hodges, who are here today, both of whom protected the Capitol on January 6th, have sued to have the memorial installed, and we will soon see if the Speaker and his subordinate offices will be compelled to follow the law. Well, we can do more than lawsuits. For people who want to honor the memory of January 6th, there is much that they can do. Keep talking about the memory, keep writing about it, develop school curriculum, archive the history of the attack, have your local government annually memorialize the history of the attack. The fight over the past is ultimately a fight over the future, and there is a role for all of us to play. In a world where so many politicians' political careers depend on forgetting, simply remembering the past is an act of resistance.
That's the money shot there. Simply forgetting, simply remembering the past is an act of resistance. I love that line. Stir, you got some farm equipment going on back there or something. What are you doing? Some?
Oh, okay.
No, that's all right. Now I see.
Let me see that.
Oh, Dungan showed up. Dungan's back. Dungan, T-Daddy gets rough all around the world, snatching plaques. It is just for fun. That is incredible, isn't it? I mean, they can't even put up a plaque to honor the police officers who tried to protect the Capitol on January 6th. I mean, they've really gone that far. I mean, it's unbelievable. And then the White House website has this big attack on Pence with big headline. They just filled their website with lies about January 6th. And they've got one whole section that starts how the vice president or how Pence betrayed the president. And I have a whole thing on that about how he refused to agree to desert or what they wanted him to do on January 6th was refuse to certify Biden's election and send it back to the states, and he wouldn't do that. And yeah, I mean, Kay's right. Pence did the right and just thing. I mean, history will remember that, but apparently his party isn't. His party's forgotten him, other than to trash him. Done gone attacking Pence. The hardcore are not going to comfort Pence.
Well, he might as well become a Democrat at this point.
Yeah. Well, the trouble is he before it's kind of like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Before we get too carried away about their new personas, you got to remember, I mean, he's a right-wing evangelical believer on abortion and gay rights and all that other stuff. So
yeah, he stood up when it counted.
He certainly did.
He stood right there. You know, you get props for that.
Yeah, and I noticed he's starting his own think tank that the Heritage Foundation, a lot of the people at the Heritage Foundation, which was completely taken over, of course, by the Trump crowd, a lot of them are leaving and going to this new think tank that Pence started. So that's where he's headed right now. See, where is this? Here it is. Let me put this. I did this video about the whole mess. Let's see. On this one really got the fiery comments from the MAGA crowd. Let's see. They were planning to hang him. They got within 40 feet of the vice president until Secret Service got him away.
Fraudulent or inactive ones, which they were asked previously certified. U.S. demands the truth.
There it is. You're saying that wasn't strong enough to hang him, Jamie?
Well, the construction of it was too short.
Oh, is that what it is?
You know, it was like a mock-up of a gallows.
So this was just for show, then, we think?
Yes.
Well, if I'm within 40 feet of that, I'm still going to run to the basement. I'm not going to assume it's just symbolic.
Well,
there it
know,
is, the actual.
They didn't have to do anything as formal as making him.
Oh, what's
they
that?
didn't have to do anything as formal as making him climb the 13 steps. They could just do it on the spot.
Yeah. And I mean, one little detail of that when they rushed Pence down to the basement, I think is done gone making a joke here. Pence think tank. Are you saying those words don't actually go together? Done gone. Is that what we call an oxymoron?
Yeah, like giant shrimp.
Yeah. But one of the details of that day I thought was so interesting, and it shows how suspicious Pence was of Trump, is when they took him to the basement and the Secret Service wanted to get him out of the building entirely. They had the motorcade ready to go and get out, and he would not go. And his chief of staff has told this story, and I think also they got testimony, and Jack Smith got testimony on all this, that Pence would not leave the Capitol building because he said something to the effect of, because you'll never bring me back, because he knew their goal was to prevent certification of that election. And if he was physically gone off the property, then they would not, without some kind of rigmarole of appointing a substitute, he would not be able to fulfill his constitutional duty that day to certify the election. And he knew that was their goal, and he refused to leave the building. I always thought that was a very interesting detail about that day.
And the Secret Service phone messages all disappeared.
Yes. That not until we heard some of them in the J6 hearing committee, but some of them we got. But yeah, you're right. I mean, all of the, yeah.
Just put him in the car and get him out of there.
Yeah, right. And but some that did survive were phone messages that Secret Service left with their loved ones, thinking that they might get killed that day. Before people think this is some kind of joke. I mean, those are Secret Service guys who were literally fearing for their lives because they were so outnumbered by the crowd. Well, that was 5 years ago yesterday, and we did our best to remember it, and we're going to have to do it every year, I guess, because they're trying like hell to make it disappear or to revise history. I mean, the White House website. Jimmy Kimmel was spectacular last night, by the way, at the beginning of his monologue, talking about the 5-year anniversary. No, done gone. Pence needs to testify from pulpits about his reign of terror to clarify what was and what is going on. That wouldn't be bad if I could find. I think Pat D got the Kimmel monologue. Here. Yeah, I believe this is it, isn't it? I think so.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us here in beautiful Hollywood. We're on what is well, thank you. I appreciate that. Today, and I don't know if you're aware of this, Guillermo, today is the 5th anniversary of the events of January 6th. 5 years ago today, after losing what eventually judges from both sides in cities all around the country unanimously declared to be a free and fair election, Donald Trump tried to overthrow our government in a pathetic and illegal attempt to stay in the White House. And there's no other way to put it. You cannot look at the facts objectively and come to any conclusion other than that. He tried to force the vice president claimed voter fraud and refused to certify Joe Biden's victory, which even his own vice president refused to do. And when Mike Pence chose the Constitution over his running mate, Trump got his supporters all riled up, sent them to the Capitol, where they staged a violent and deadly riot, which he enjoyed from the comfort of his office for hours on television, until someone in his circle begged and pleaded with him to half-heartedly call them off. It was
I got to end it right there because ABC will come after me for copyright violations. Unfortunately, I've been through that. I'm going to wind up here. We're at the hour mark. Anybody else got anything to add? You all still there? Did I turn you off? Oh,
yep.
Oh, Jamie go. Where'd Jamie go?
I'm auditing the course.
All right, I'm actually going to wind up here, end up with, and thanks to everybody in the comments section. And we put the Trail Mix address up there a couple times. Here it is again. You can continue the conversation over on Trail Mix. Make it easy to comment, and we welcome you over there to continue the conversation. And now we're gonna. I'm gonna wind up the hour. We're here at 11 a.m. every day until we get tired. I'm gonna wind up with this grandmother who was a MAGA rioter on January 6th, who now regrets it, and to the extent that she didn't even accept Trump's pardon. We're going to end the hour with her. She testified yesterday.
So I went
about this.
Well,
and,
as you know,
it was pretty
Trump
powerful.
never showed, but the rioters did. and the attack began. The police officers were the heroes. They protected the Capitol and everyone inside the Capitol, and even people like me. I was trampled on by the rioters. And if it weren't for the Capitol Police helping me that day, I might have died. To the Capitol Police officers sitting, if I may address you for a minute. I am truly sorry from the bottom of my heart for being part of the mob that put you and so many officers in danger. I want the Capitol Police to know how truly grateful I am to them and how deeply sorry I am. I can't believe people are still disrespecting you and trying to lie about January the 6th. I will do everything I can to stop the lies about our brave officers like you who protected us during the attack. Thank you. Speaking about January the 6th has caused a great risk to my personal safety. I have been doxxed online, harassed, and physically assaulted. But I am here, and I don't care. I won't let it stop me. I can't sit here while Mr. Trump and others are lying. I also want others who feel like me to know that we must stop the lies being pushed by the Republican leaders and Trump himself.
Okay, I'm Lady Mau Mau, Craig's built-in emergency brake. If this wasn't enough for you, sign up for the newsletter. It's free, it's thoughtful, and it occasionally makes sense.